I appreciate y'all. So y'all didn't get loud enough for the last time, man. So I need y'all to show me some love. All the melanated people in here, all the melanated love, all the entrepreneurs, all the tables. I need y'all to get one collective energy, one collective sound. Can I get a yeah? Yeah! Man, there go the vibe right there. God almighty, I appreciate y'all. I do appreciate it. So the two greatest sources of human suffering is bodily disease and mental anxiety. It's no mystery that the things that we put into our body ultimately affect the way that we feel. They affect the things that the way we think, the way we sleep. It affects everything about our life. And so the same thing is true about our mind, about our thoughts. You see, the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life. And so for those of us that have a hard time focusing, then we can't finish. And so therefore we become frustrated. And we ultimately suffer from higher anxiety, disappointment, depression. And so, you know, what we allow into our mind and the things that we pay attention to, the things that we listen to, the things that we read, the people that we hang around, the conversations that we have, each one of them has an effect on the way that we show up in the world. It jades our perspective. It alters our state of consciousness, and we respond in a certain way based on that understanding. I remember when I was early in my journey of development and just trying to get on my spiritual path, and I started reading this book. It was called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And anybody read that book in here? So y'all know. If you know, you know. Okay? Well, in that book, if you remember, it talked about desecrating the human mind. And it said to desecrate the human mind is to desecrate the altar of God. And at first I didn't necessarily realize what it was saying. And so after I had a chance to reflect on it for a little bit, what I realized is that it was talking about the way that we think. It was talking about our beliefs and our understanding of who God is and who God isn't. And it ultimately resided in the way that we think, in our mind. And so to focus on things that aren't entirely aligned with the universal consciousness, God, spirit, then ultimately we're focused on things that take us off our path. Okay? And so, you know, the premise of religious teachings and spiritual principles are all surrounded around the basis of our thoughts. It's a paradigm shift. No matter what you believe, Christianity, Muslim, Islam, Catholic, Buddhist, no matter what you believe, it's focused on getting your mind right. To put you in a divine sense of understanding based on your understanding of the reading, the teaching, the parables, the principles, the stories, the lessons, the things that you can relate to and the things that ultimately you'll relate to eventually in life. It works on the power of your thinking. It's no mystery that marketing companies to this day are paying top dollar for your attention, for your 15 seconds on YouTube, for your 1 second, for your 1 minute on not just Netflix, but YouTube too, or SoundCloud, or your television network. They just taking your time. 30 seconds, give me that. If you ain't paying, then we're gonna make sure that you see this advertisement. Because your attention is expensive. You don't know it, they know it. Your attention is expensive. So what I realized after kind of pondering on this book and on this understanding, I realized that thought is energy, and energy is power. And so where we focus, where our focus goes, our energy flows. Y'all heard that before? Yeah. It's true. And so religion, science, philosophy, they tried to add some understanding to classify things that are going on in our lives, because it gives us a sense of peace. It gives us a sense of understanding, which results ultimately in control a lot of times. Okay? Well, when we talk about religion, we talk about God versus the devil. When we talk about spirit, or we talk about science, we talk about positive and negative. When we talk in philosophy, we talk about good or bad. So it's natural that ultimately our human condition is to qualify thought, to bring meaning and understanding of how we should actually respond. If we view something to be as positive, we respond in a positive way. If we view it to be negative, we respond in a negative way. Ultimately, we are responsible for curating our experience on this earth. And things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. Okay? If you with me, say yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, religion, science, philosophy, they almost put our focus on trying to use the power of God, not just the power of God, but the energy and the spirit, instead of understanding it, aligning with it, and co-creating with it. It's similar how we interact with each other. When our relationships are very transactional. Our relationships are very, what have you done for me lately? Okay? Which isn't the way that you want to develop relationships if you haven't known by now. If you ain't realized it by now. Okay? And so, when we bring understanding to things, it doesn't always result in the freedom that we desire, or that we like, or that we want. Okay? Sometimes it results in us trying to control the situation. We control each other, we control the narrative, we control the results, we control our partner, and we call it love. And I just love you so much. No, you control me so much that you feel like that's love. But ultimately, there's some disagreements, some societal disagreements that we have. One, we disagree with Scientology or science, because what science has found is over the course of time, they ultimately end at the reality that there's an eternal energy that's forever present, that science cannot fully understand, nor can they actually comprehend, okay, or can they explore. It's a fact. And so, with religion finds that power behind this energy doesn't just lie around us, it lies within us, okay? And so essentially there's a shift in the universal consciousness, and that shift is going from us believing that God and Spirit is only working around us or through us or on our behalf or to us, to realizing that God and Spirit is within us. That church is within you, not in the building in which you attend. That praise is within you and the things that you do and using your gifts and maximizing your potential on this earth. And that's what gives honor to the Spirit, to the Lord. So, at one point I had an adversarial relationship between spirit and religion. On the spiritual sense, I would say, you know what, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. And that was a whole debate. We still debate it to this day. And how I would define it back then was being spiritual means that I have a relationship with God. And being religious means that I have a regimen that I do to connect with God. And so I realized that gave me comfort in the time, but as I've developed and as I've evolved in my understanding, I've begun to realize that I am religious because I am spiritual.
All right. Good job.
I exercise the regimen in which I was raised, in which I'm accustomed, because I acknowledge that there's a spirit beyond me that's in control. And my desire to align with that spirit, to understand that spirit, makes me no less spiritual than the next man.
Right.
And my religious upbringing, I identify as Christian, grew up Baptist. But now I have a relationship. So at this point, I realize that the regimen that I learned growing up actually keeps me connected to spirit, connected to source. So although I have a relationship now, I now realize that I have to exercise this muscle, my spiritual muscle, by going and sticking with the regimen that I'd known growing up. So I don't abandon what I believe, okay? Funny story, in the 7th grade, right? So my father was in the military, served 33 years. So shout out to the veterans in here. He was in the U.S. Air Force. He served 2 tours, went to Iraq and Afghanistan. So I was a military kid. I moved around every 2 years until the age of 14. Lived in 3 different countries before high school, okay? So I was going to school in Khamis Mashay, Saudi Arabia. It's a small town outside of Dhahran, Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia. And it was 7th grade, and we had this experiment. I'm pretty sure all of us have been through this experiment with the magnifying glass and the sun. Y'all remember this? Okay, so let me tell y'all this funny story, okay? So I get the magnifying glass, and the instructions was hold the glass still so the sunlight can reflect through the glass onto the object that's underneath it, and I'm going to show you exactly what energy does when magnified, what sunlight does when magnified. And so I did it. I held it still for a little while. I didn't have a lot of faith, but I held it still. My arm started cramping. So all of a sudden, whatever I had under it started smoking. It really started smoking. And I held it there until it caught a little bit of fire. There was a little bit of flame. And I yelled out, "Holy shit, I'm lit!" Okay. Now y'all know y'all having them conversations in class, and it's loud, and then you say your one thing and everybody get quiet. It was one of those moments for me, you know what I'm saying? It was one of those moments. And so what I did was, Oh, now she got my music right now. You see how it work out? Look at God. You know what I'm saying? Look when you do God's will, He gonna bless you. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Now, and so, you know, I yelled out, holy shit. But it was in that day that I realized that I had understood the relationship between sunlight and energy. Light and energy. It was also the day I got introduced to in-school suspension, so I didn't even know that was a thing. So, you know, I had sex after that, no cap. Alright? But years later, as an athlete, I began to connect with nutritionists. I began to connect with trainers. And they began to help me understand the benefit of what I put in my body and walking barefoot on the grass and eating organic foods, eating all my vegetables, eating green vegetables, and how it affects my ultimate energy level and my performance as an athlete. I learned about sunlight and vitamin D and how if I get more sunlight, I get more energy. And so, you know, using that enhanced understanding, I learned that also that our bodies are 70% water and also electricity. It's like rubbing your feet on carpet as a kid and then touching somebody. Y'all remember that? Because the electric current actually travels through your body. And I also realized that stagnant energy develops in physical tension and stress and anxiety and depression and disease. So you got to move around. After being an athlete, I transitioned into music. I'm a music publisher. I'm not necessarily a producer. I'm not a platinum producer, but I did own a music publishing company and artist management company. We have 4 platinum records. We have 4 gold records, and we've written songs that sold over 6 million albums. We've written for some of your biggest and brightest. Future, Usher, Rihanna, Bruno Mars. We did our thing. I'm no longer in the music industry, except I'm in radio this time, okay? I'm on another side of the house, and I love it. And so in the music industry, what I have an opportunity to do is work with some of the most talented creatives in the country. Not just in Atlanta, in the country. And I realized sitting in the studio with these creatives that they would be in tune with the eternal energy that they would be the only one to hear in the room. And I would sit there and I would wonder where these melodies are coming from and how they heard these beats and what these messages are that when they get in the booth and they would just freestyle a verse or a song or a hook. And I watched that go from the creation from somebody's mind to the studio, to the radio, to the stage, to platinum records, to resonate all across the world, not the country, the world, from jump. And that was such an eye-opening experience because I was like, yo, they are really connected. They tapped in. See, some of these creatives are creating around 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the morning, angel hours, where you think it's just drugs, sex, and hoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't really that. These men and women are really tapped in. And they're a lot of times are more spiritual than common day everyday me and you. Okay? And so I realized the power in music and art and creativity and in sports. It's a universal language that brings us all together. You are your most divine self when you're creative. Everybody in here has created something of their own based on the knowledge and the energy that they've been given at the time that they were born. And to connect with that and to use that energy to manifest what you see all around you as a gift they've co-created with the Creator. So these combined experiences actually helped me to learn a few different things that I want to share with y'all, and I'm going to get out your way. One, electricity is a form of energy and motion, a form of energy and motion. And its effect depends upon the vehicle in which it is connected. And so what I mean by this is that depending on what you connect electricity to, you might get music, you might get sound, you might get food, you might get philosophy, you may get soap, crystals, whatever it may be. If you connect electricity to a specific vessel, it's going to manifest whatever that vessel is made to do. And it's nothing different than what each one of us are made and born to do. Just connecting the energy. So to co-create with the Creator and manifest the outcome that you desire, you must align your thoughts with the universal consciousness. So my name is Kenny B, also known as Kenny B Speaks. I'm a mindset coach, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a course instructor, I'm a radio show host, and I focus on spiritual alignment, emotional intelligence, mindfulness, and relationships. Now don't hit me with your dating advice because I'm single and I ain't got no kids, I ain't figured it out, okay? I'm talking about the relationship between you and God, you and yourself, you and other people, and the relationship between you and your own energy, aka your ability to manifest. See, manifestation is not magic. It is the relationship you have with your own energy. And through tapping into the universal consciousness, then you're able to co-create with the source of all creation. And you use that light and that energy to bring love and light to other people. Not just for your own personal gain, but for the benefit of other people. And the kings and queens that are specialize in
What's on your mind?
I appreciate your time. You can find me at Kenny B Speaks on any social media platform or KennyBSpeaks.com. I appreciate you. Remember, you can change your mind, you can change your life. That's how you change the vibe. We out.